there. Yeah, so that was one of my last flights. I'll get into that towards the end of the video. But in today's video, we're talking about the DJI Avata 2 and why I will be sticking with the DJI Avata. This is the new one. Thank you, DJI, first of all, for sending this after this one took a dive, but again, we'll get into that later. So I've been using the DJI Avata for about 9 months or so, give or take. I did make an initial review on it, and I really like it as a drone. It's not perfect, it's not even close to perfect, but there are a lot of things I do enjoy about it that make it a great drone for my workflow. Now, to quickly go over that, it's the smart batteries. I love these. They last quite a bit of time. I would say about 8 minutes or so flying aggressively in FPV mode. And the fact that I don't have to worry about the way I charge them. It's just, I can just plug them in, charge them, let them charge overnight, and they will intelligently not do anything dangerous. Because if you don't know, the LiPo batteries that you use with traditional racing quads are quite dangerous, and you need to be careful how you charge them and discharge them. And the GPS features that are in the drone make it really nice. If you ever lose connection or something, it just hovers there. You can have return to home features like a regular GPS DJI drone. Now, the way I use this FPV drone compared to like my regular DJI Mini 3 is I try to get, shots that are a bit more dynamic with a bit more movement just to spice up a video. Now, right off the bat, I knew when I purchased this that I would be attaching a GoPro on it. This is the GoPro I use. It's the GoPro Hero 12, and it's a really, really, really good camera. This is probably my favorite camera I own right now just because of its versatility, its quality. That 8x7 sensor is fantastic. Now, right off the bat, I will say, if you're just getting into FPV and you want to learn how to fly it and you don't care super much about image quality, like you do care, but not crazy amount, I would go for the DJI Avata 2. It has all the features of the DJI Avata plus more, new sensors on it to have better obstacle avoidance, DJI's new 04 system, so it's better range, even though I don't really find that to be a big deal because either way the batteries don't go that far. So for me, this connection system works perfectly fine. And that one you don't require to put a GoPro on top. As with this one, if you guys didn't know, I would have this GoPro plastic mount that I would attach here. That obviously this one broke off because of the last incident. And I would just use the regular camera to look around with the goggles, and then I would film everything on the GoPro. Now, the reason for that is the DJI Avata first generation's camera quality wasn't fantastic. It was okay, and you could get good results, but I wanted, great results. And the GoPro 12 is amazing because it has that 8x7 inch sensor. So first of all, you can export in 16:9 videos or 9:16 for vertical content. Second thing, the battery life is really good on this, and it definitely outlasts the multiple batteries I have of the DJI Avata. Second of all, that 5.3K and the dynamic range and just the quality of the image is just unmatched for me. And I think that there's a reason that pretty much every professional or semi-professional FPV drone pilot puts a GoPro on top of their system. And GoPro's stabilization software is just fantastic. The quality and the smoothness of the clips are surreal. And I don't even think the new Rocksteady that came out in the Avata 2 is as smooth as GoPro's Real Steady. Is that what it's called? Not to mention that if you're in this action camera system, as these get better, you can increasingly increase the quality of your FPV videos without having to get a new drone entirely. That said, you can get the Avata 2 and attach a GoPro on top, but in that case, I feel like you should go for the Avata 1, and this is one of the reasons why I'm sticking with this, is because their flight performance, from what I've seen, is quite similar. I definitely would have considered the Avata 2 if it had much more powerful motors or be built in a way that could travel a lot faster. This is a quite sluggish FPV drone. It's definitely not a super fast racing quad. So if the Avata 2 had more power, then I would consider it, because then it would fly more smoothly with the GoPro. The next thing to keep in mind is if you're flying with the Avata 2 and you're filming with the camera that's built on it, the most cinematic settings usually have a bit of motion blur, which is normal. This is how I set up my GoPro. Problem is, if you're filming in a mode with motion blur in the Avata 2, which is what you probably should be doing, that's also what you see through the goggle. I feel like that would be a recipe for crashes, because when you're flying with the FPV goggles, you want things to be as clear and smooth as possible, which is the opposite of motion blur. So seeing little obstacles like poles in my case, or trees, or little branches here and there, where it's going to be increasingly difficult the closer you fly to them, because they're going to be blurred out, because that's how you want your final cinematic image to be. So for me, that's already a reason not to be using the main camera of these types of FPV drones. You want a smooth image in your goggles and take that blurry cinematic image for the GoPro. So as I was editing the video, I just realized I haven't spoken about the crash. So basically, I was in Portofino with Tom, actually the guy in the back there.
Hello.
And I don't know, I was flying around this little beach area that we found. Yeah, everything was going well. I took off from the beach and I went around, was looking at the beautiful landscapes, the water, the boats going by. While I fly, I see this little gap. I was like, okay, that would be cool if I could pass through that and reveal the beach on the other side. Tom's laughing in the back there because he was there. In most cases, the smart thing to do is to scout the area a little bit, see what obstacles could be in that area so you can plan your, your flight path. I didn't. I just kind of, looped around. I saw it for the first time because I flew by it, and then I looped around and I was like, okay, I'll just full send it, dive, whatever, what's the worst thing that could happen? And pretty much the worst thing that could happen happened. So I flew through, I made it through the gap, but behind it there was this railing that I saw at the last moment. I decreased the throttle enough that the drone, I think, would have fit through the gap. But I forgot about the GoPro on the top. So I guess this is the case where the Avata 2 would have been better. So the GoPro smacks against the pole, breaks off instantly, and falls into the depths of the ocean. And then my drone's camera got kind of flipped upwards, and I couldn't really see anything. I hit the emergency brake button, but I had too much momentum, and basically I flew into the water. So I was like, oh shit, okay, this is the second time I lose a drone into the ocean. So I was like, okay, shit. Tom and Dan are like, all right, bro, just take your clothes off and go in. So yeah, I did that. It was a bit cold, not gonna lie. I really didn't enjoy it. So I took my pants off, took my shirt off. I was just in underwear. I ran out into the water. Water was freezing and it was rocky, so it was super uncomfortable. And the first thing I found was the drone, because I didn't realize that the GoPro came off the drone. So I was looking around. They were trying to direct me from the beach area where it could have fallen based off what they saw. We also reviewed the crash footage, because on DJI FPV drones, you see the last 30 seconds of video before you lose the transmission. And yeah, so after about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so of kind of moving around in the water, I find it. But then I realized the GoPro wasn't attached. I was like, fuck. Actually, wait, no, I forgot to say, as I was looking around, this little octopus grabbed my leg, scared the shit out of me, because I'm a little bit afraid of like deep water. The water wasn't deep at all, but I could kind of see what was under me. I think it's called what, thalassophobia. I can't say I have it, but let's just say I have a small version of it. And the octopus just grabbed my leg. It was a baby. It was really cute looking back, but in the moment I freaked out. And Tom over there was like, yo, get it, bring it, take it out so we can eat it. Because octopus, so good. But no, I was in shock. Plus, I was still trying to find the drone. But anyways, long story short, I found it. I was like, okay, great. But yeah, then I saw this piece had broken off. So I was like, okay, fuck. Where could the GoPro be? It wasn't in that area. But then reviewing the footage, it made sense that if the GoPro broke off on impact, it would have fallen down pretty much in that area where the railing was. So I was like, okay, shit. So I put my shoes on to help me walk all the way out there, which I started walking, but then halfway through I realized I had to swim because it got quite deep. And yeah, no, I was looking around the area. I could barely see shit. But luckily there was a boat quite a bit off the beach shore. I asked them if they had a pair of goggles, and luckily they did. So I swam out to the boat, got the goggles, swam back. So after about like 40 minutes to an hour or so later, I found it. I saw it flashing in the bottom of the water. Luckily, it did land upside down, so I was able to get a bunch of pretty content, I guess, showing the fish, because there's so many fish around it. They were very curious on what it was. Swam down, I got it, and that's pretty much the end. I was so cold after that. My shoes were soaking wet, underwear was soaking wet. But I was so happy to have recovered both things, because then I can show you guys this cool footage. Another thing I forgot to mention is I do have already the Avata 1 accessories, the batteries, the remote, and the goggles, and it makes sense to stick with the same one. So, when